All right, it's 4 p.m. West African time, and I'm welcoming everyone to this class. It's a privilege to be here again, and as we wait for other people, we're just going to, just try to dive into the class once again. I believe, once again, this is your special bi-weekly webinar. And it's a privilege to have us join again this time. All right. My day was very good and my day is still going well. I don't know if you are in a place where you can speak. Manuel, how's your day going? At your hand, if you can unmute and speak, I appreciate that. How's your day going at your hand? And if it's Mfo Sima, sorry if I ordered that. All right, so
don't worry, we'll collect a cow from you.
Can you please help me so that I get better when I'm doing that next time?
Okay. That's okay. It's Mfon Nsima, but it's okay.
Mfon All right.
Yeah.
Mfon Nsima. So how's your day going?
My day is fine. I decided to shut down for today. Most part of the day, I just resumed my life.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So there were a lot of things in my head. So I just had to shut down so that I could think well.
No, that's the best way, to just, go about things, because sometimes we may not be productive when we are, juggling everything together. So it's just good sometimes to just step back, reflect, and then, come back big and better. All right. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I'll just, because of our time, so Emmanuel, you're welcome. Dabel Tech, you're welcome. Right. So today we're looking at something very beautiful, which is automating GIS tasks with Python and QGIS, streamlining workflows through scripting and automation. So, but before we go, the mother body that is organizing this webinar is Data Science Nigeria, DSN, and then our vision and our commitment is to raise 1 million AI talent and build AI solutions that improve the quality of life and well-being of 2 billion people in the emerging markets. So it simply means that our aim is to raise at least 1 million talent, like which you are part of it. And this is one of the schemes whereby we do this, and then to provide a lot of solutions, for 2 billion people in the emerging markets. So then under DSN generally, so the sub-community that takes on this task of, organizing geospatial bi-weekly webinar is the geospatial community. And geospatial community, in geospatial community, there are so many things. What we do is not just to come here and learn, it's not just to come here and do webinar bi-weekly, There are many other things that we do. In fact, because I always say that in the community, we have more than just learners, we have professionals, we have people who are good, who are already, well established in their field, in the field of geospatial. And then many times we see people reaching out for collaboration, for projects, and many other things. So, and that is why it's a place where if you are not on the, of course, again, I'll do that today to drop the link to the geospatial community group, such that if you get a lot of things, there's opportunity for hackathon. We share things that are more geospatial based. Of course, we are doing this class so that other people in the general group can, join. But where we share most things that have to do with geospatial, so is on that community group. So you have opportunity to collaborate and many other things. So and that's it. So, but I'll be out of your way in some seconds. Just like I said today, we're doing something very, very interesting. How to automate. Imagine you can automate your geospatial task, using both QGIS and Python. So I will just, it will be my honor to bring on today's facilitator in person of Olamide Shogbamu. Is a creative analyst and a geospatial data scientist. It will be my honor to welcome our facilitator for today, Olamide Shogbamu. You can have the floor. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here, an utmost honor to be facilitating this session. My name is Olamide Shogbamu, and I'll be your facilitator through this geospatial class. Thank you very much, Blessing, for the introduction. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here. So today we'll be talking about automating workflows in QGIS with Python. Let me just get the topic as it is. Please confirm you can hear me and you can see my screen. Yes, so the topic, automating
Yes,
GIS.
both.
Yeah, somebody speaking.
Yes, I can hear you and I can see your screen.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the topic for today is automating GIS tasks with Python and QGIS. So an example, an instance is streamlining workflow through scripting and automation. So basically that is what we do when we mean automating GIS tasks. It means that we write scripts that can automate the tasks the geospatial tasks that we want to do. And Blessing has run us through the platform that's making this possible to us twice every month. So what I'll be teaching today revolves around the tools that we use for this automation, what you need to know before you are able to do this kind of automation. We are going to look at a real application of automating. That means we are going to be doing some hands-on. I'll explain what the workflow looks like, and eventually we do the hands-on. You are going to understand the libraries and classes that we use in PyQGIS, and much more. You are going to have questions. We'll be here to answer the questions. You have comments. It is something that you have done before. You've been able to do it with another approach, etc., and like that. We'll be able to talk about all of that. Yes, so I'll try to do this in less than 50 minutes or 40 minutes thereabouts. So I said manual GIS tasks are repetitive, they are time consuming, and they are prone to error. So there are some GIS tasks that we do. So basically I'll be talking mainly with my lecture streamlined to QGIS because that's the platform that I want to use today. So when we look at some tasks that are GIS tasks and we want to use QGIS to do them, we realize that there's a lot of manual effort that goes into it because you have to do it one after the other, even if you are doing the same operation for different layers or different features. So you realize that you end up doing it one by one and one by one and one by one, repetitively, and it is time consuming and it dulls the brain because you are basically doing the same thing. You want to style a layer, you have already styled a layer, you want to repeat the same styling for almost 15 more layers. You have to start copying and pasting for each and every single layer. And if you are not careful, if you are pasting from a repository where you have a lot of different styles, you might paste a wrong style for the correct file because you are just copying and pasting. Yeah, that is why I said it is also prone to error. But when we choose to automate it, we improve our work process. We add speed to it. We are able to reproduce it. Yeah, we see an instance of reproducibility in the sense that whatever script that you write for a particular task, you can come back to it after several years, several months, several weeks, and apply that script to a similar task because you must have prepared your task to be able to adopt that script and stuff like that. So we also have scalability. So if it works for one, it can work for 1,000. That is what scalability means. You write your script, it works for one, it can work for 1,000. So I said example of tasks that we can automate are like batch clipping, not just batch clipping, any processing task that we do in QGIS, especially the ones that we do with QGIS processing tools. So I'll be showing us the QGIS processing tools in a while when we get to the hands-on session, especially the ones we do with QGIS processing tools. We can automate them because those tools are basically written in Python, and if you can understand the libraries that operate those tools, you can actually automate those processes. I've given example of layer styling. Another one is report generation. If you are a regular comeback or a regular attendee of our webinar, you must have seen a particular session where I did report generation in one of our classes when we did land use, land cover classification. So we automated the generation of the reports. We did not do a manual calculation. We actually just use a QGIS tool to generate our reports, and it did the calculation for us. So that's also an example of automation or automating tasks, QGIS tasks with QGIS and Python. So we proceed to say, okay, what tools and knowledge do we require? Basically, you just need to know how to navigate around QGIS, and you need to know a little bit of Python. So we are using QGIS. QGIS is an open source geospatial software. PyQGIS is a library. So it's basically a Python API that runs inside QGIS. So when we write scripts in QGIS, it sends our script, it wrap it up in a Python API wrapper, send it to the library gate, and then it returns the result for us. So it's basically just an API that runs inside QGIS. So I said this before, if it works for one, it can work for 1,000. So script one, you can run it as many times as possible. Once you get your script right, your script is working, delivers results to you. You can apply it to multiple and multiple and multiple of the same task. That's that's that. So let's move fast. I don't spend too much time here. So an example of the real world use case we are looking at is batch clipping. So we want to do clip a data, but we want to clip the data across multiple shapefiles. So we are going to be so I already listed the data set. So we'll just go straight into what use case we are studying. So I said we have Nigerian road shapefiles, and we have state boundaries shapefile. So here, the objective is to clip road layer for each state and save the output automatically. I want to understand that, or let's say we can come to an agreement that saving files alone in QGIS is a lot of work. You have to go to export as this, select output location, select the type of file. Are you saving SRI? Are you saving GeoJSON? Are you saving CSV? You have to select all of those things manually by yourself before you now eventually save. Select your CSR and CRS and all of that. You have to do all of that before you now manually save. Yes, that is the work, but it can be automated such that you just one click, everything saves, and not just only save, runs your automation across several files and everything saved. So I said manual approach will take hours, but scripting will just do everything in seconds. And if you go to your file explorer, you see all these files there and they are intact. This is a breakdown of what the workflow that we are looking at is. I want to quickly take a pause and tell somebody to explain our use case, so that if you're able to explain our use case, then I am able to explain the workflow to achieve the use case. So anybody can just open on mic themselves. Actually, that's the word. You can just mic yourself, because right now you mount your mic, so you can mount your mic and explain the use case that we are looking at today. And if you don't get it, you can tell me to come again. That's why we are here together on this call here. So basically, anyone can just go ahead and speak. What use case are we looking at today? I just moved that slide just now.
From the last slide, you just we are talking about mapping areas, geographical areas.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So we'll take the use case again because it seems I rushed too much also. So here is the use case. We have Nigerian state boundaries shapefile. Okay, so these shapefiles are basically boundaries. You know, we have a Nigerian map, and in the map, each state have their own boundary. But those states are not individual layers. They are actually contained in one single shapefile. So in the shapefile, I have all the 36 states and the FCT. Their shapefile are there in the map. And also, let's say I have another shapefile that says road shapefile. And the road shapefile is just one for the entire Nigeria. So let's say we want to find the road for each state in Nigeria. Now, this is a very good use case. So we want to find the road for each state, meaning that I want to divide that one road file by the boundary of each state. You know, it means that I have to do this like 37 times by clipping the road file by the boundary of each state and saving it one after the other. That will literally take hours to do. We can automate the process. So that's our use case. It can be done for any kind of file, any kind of data. If you have population data, you want to clip it, you want to divide it into different admin boundaries. Provided you have the admin boundaries and you have the data you want to clip, you can automate it. So that is our use case. So I want to believe this is now quite clear. That's why I said our objective is to clip road layers for each state and save the output automatically. So when we don't just clip and put it in QGIS, it clips and saves into our drive, meaning that at that point, if you mount, you already have your data. So if you load your data, you already have your data. You know, there's one thing with QGIS that if you don't automate and you save, it just tell you that you have saved this layer as a temporary layer, meaning that if you close your QGIS and you open it again, you don't have that file because you did not save it. But with our automation, we can actually save it to a directory with just that one same click. So I want to believe that we are all clear on this. If you kind of understand the use case, because this use case is what is going to be our building block when we start hands-on. Please just react with an emoji and then proceed. So I'm waiting for our emojis. Okay. So this is the workflow. This workflow is just basically a step-by-step approach to solve the problem that we want to do. So you need to have a boundary file, that is the shape file. So you load it to your QGIS. You need to have your road shape file also. You load it to your QGIS. So here you define the two files. You define their location. Then you look through the states. It means that the states are contained in one single file. So it means that we need to look through it and make sure that we identify each of the states. If we don't look through it, we are not going to be able to say these are the states inside this file. So we need to look through it and make sure that the state is iterable. We are able to say this is state 1, this is state 2, this is state 3, this is state 4, and like that and like that. Then when we get the states, we then clip the road map to the state. So for when we get state 1, we clip the road, we save it. That's why you see the next thing is save results to an output folder. We go back, we pick state 2, we clip the same road, we save it. Save again. We repeat, we go back, we clip the road with another state. That's why you see clip road to state, save results to output folder, and then you repeat until you are done with all of the states. So you clip by one state, you save, you go back, you clip by second state, you save, you go back. You clip by third state, you save, you go back. You clip by the fourth state, you save, you go back until you are done. So let's quickly look at what tools and what libraries and the classes that allows us to do this. So we are using 3 classes from the PyQGIS library. So the PyQGIS library is the API that runs inside QGIS, like I said. So these classes are basically QGIS vector layer. So this vector layer is basically the ones that understands the layer that we are working with. So because what we are doing mostly are vector, we are working basically with vector files. Shapefiles are vector files. So because we are working basically with vector files, so we are using the vector layer. We are using QGIS projects. It gives access to our current project because we are calling an API function. So we need to be able to expose the directory, the project we are doing to the API. So we need QGIS projects. Then we need features. This one is the one that understands that these are actually GIS features, geometry and their attributes. So it needs to be able to, when its clips finish, it has to be able to save the attributes based on the geometry. And that is why we need the QGIS features. There are other libraries, other classes under these libraries that we use for different things. But these are basically the 3 that we are going to be using here. And we are going to be using the almighty processing tools. You are going to see that. It's the processing tools that we're using in QGIS. We need to import that. If we did not import that, there's no way we are going to be able to run our script. So this is a pseudocode that what I was trying to explain the other time. So this is what it basically looks like. So for states in states, so here we have a state layer that is all the a shapefile that contains all the states. So we are saying for states, that is for one state in this all states, dot get feature. Remember, we are using QGIS features. So it gets the feature, meaning that whatever is associated with that shape, it gets it. So once it gets that shape, that's our boundary. Inside it, we now do processing.run. You see why we need the processing tool. Because if we don't import processing, we cannot do processing.run. So we do processing.run and we do native clip. So native clip does do the ordinary clipping. There are a lot of clippings in QGIS. We have raster clip, clip by extent, clip by layer, vector clip, and like that. But when we say native clip, it means the simple clip. And we are going to be able to see that in a very short time. So let's go straight to the hands-on. I have my data ready, but I'll be showing you where you can download your data from. So you can download your boundary file from global admin, which is gadmin.org. And you can download Nigerian vector data, which is all the vector data for Nigeria, road, water, schools, data points. You can download it from geofabrics.de. So you can go there, explore, download the data. I'll just show you what the data looks like when you download it. And yeah, so I'll be opening my QGIS right about now. So permit me to stop sharing for a moment and share again. If you have followed so far, let me see your reactions with the emoji. And yes, you can see my screen. At this point, I'll need somebody to unmute and inform me that they can see my screen.
Can see your screen.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so this is QGIS. I'll just create a new project. Come to project, click new. So this is a new project. So everything is blank. I would like to save the project before I proceed. So I can just save project. So I'll save this under geospatial. Oh, I think I have a folder called classes. Yeah, I think I have a folder called classes. So let's call this QGIS automation. Yeah, let's just save it. Let's call this QGIS. Yeah, so this is our file. These are projects. So the first thing is to load our data. So I already have my data, so I'll just go to I'll just come to GIS. So when you go to GeoFabrics, you are going to be downloading a data that looks like Nigerian latest free shapefile.zip. So Nigerian latest, these files are always updated from time to time. So you can see it's about 6.13 gig. So it's easy, it's better to download ahead for the class. If you want us to go through how to download the file, yeah, please go ahead. Okay. If you want us to go through how to download the file, you can do that if we have more time after the lesson. Oh, let's focus on the lesson for now. So Nigerian latest free shapefile, when you extract it, you see all these shapefiles. So I'll just do this and try to do this. So you can see we have buildings, we have places, we have transport, we have waterways, we have places, traffic, land use, POIs, road. Basically, we are interested in the road. So this is the road file. This is the road. This one I've clicked here. So this roads is what I import into QGIS. So I can just click and drag. Okay, let me click and drag this. This is not the ideal way, but let me click and drag this. So I just bring this into this part. Let's give it a minute. Yeah, you can see this is one single shapefile that loads all the road that has been mapped in Nigeria. So this is OpenStreetMap data, and you can see a lot of data. So processing this file one after the other by each state is going to take hours, but we are going to automate it in a very limited time with QGIS automation. So let's also get our boundary file. So I'll just get the boundary file with the ideal. We come to this browser, go to your drive, which is your location for the file. I'm coming to my drive. I'm trying to go to geospatial. The same folder that I went to via my Explorer is the same folder I am navigating to. So I want to come under, let me check, multi-criteria, no. Okay, so I'm just looking for the boundary file for Nigeria, which is this. I think I found this already. So this is GeoJSON, though I need to use the shapefile. Let's see. So yeah, this is it. Although this is GeoJSON, so this is the shapefile. So I can show you how to download this file too. I can show you how to download this file, but this is basically a shapefile. So these are the two files that you are going to need. Please give me a second. Let me quickly. All right, I'm back at QGIS. So basically, these are the two files that we need. So the next thing is for us to load our script, our IDE. So we have these two files. So, but before that, let's quickly do something. Let's test that these files are valid files. The data is valid. Let's test such that when we run into error in our automation, we have a clear understanding that it is not the data. So let's quickly do that. So I'll just select a state. I'll select a state and I'll clip the road to the state and see if QGIS will do it for me. If I'm able to do for 1, I can do for 1,000, you understand? So let's let's come to, this is the processing tool. You see this guy here? If you click it, it brings out this panel. So this panel is actually the processing toolbox. So this is the almighty processing that we need to import. So I'll just search for the native clip. So this is clip. Look at this option here, the ordinary clip, vector overlay clip. So this is the native clip, and this is the tool we are going to be using in the Python console. So you can double click it. You can see the clip tool is up. Our input layer is the road layer, and our overlay is the shape. But before that, I want to get one single state out of all these 36 states. So let's cancel this for now. So I come to this boundary, I come to properties, I come to query builder. Under source, I come to query builder. Under query builder, I want to select a state. But because I'm familiar with this file, I know that the names of the state are under name underscore one. So these are all the names of the states. So I'll just select, let's select Nasarawa state. So here, basically, I'll do name one is equal to Nasarawa state. And then if I click it and I run it, so it does that clipping. I've just selected only Nasarawa state. So here that I've selected Nasarawa state, I want to duplicate the file. So this first one, I'm going to delete the query filter that I added. You can see this is a filter icon that is saying name is equal to Nasarawa. So I'll remove the filter so that I have my entire state back. So query builder, I remove the expression. I apply, So this gives me back, but it is hidden. Now I want to clip the road by this state so that we have Nasarawa state. So I come back to this my clip. I say my input layer is the road, and my overlay layer now is Nasarawa state. This first one up here is the Nasarawa without the copy. So I want to get the output as a temporary file because that is not exactly what I need. So I'll just run. You can see it has clipped and saying the process is finished. So I can close it. So let's close the road for the entire Nigeria. Yes, you can also, this is Nasarawa boundary and this is Nasarawa road. Can you see? So this is the road for only Nasarawa state. This is a process, and this is the boundary for Nasarawa state. So we can see that it works. The file is valid, but we cannot keep on doing this for the entire 36 state and the FCT. It means we have a lot of duplicates. I'll have to be duplicating. And remember, this is a temporary file. If I close this window now, this file disappears because it's not saved. So if I want to save it, I have to come here, save as make permanent for each and every file, which is quite not the best way to work. So here, I'll just automate the process using the QGIS, PyQGIS API that's provided in QGIS. But before that, allow me to delete this file that I've just worked on. So I'll remove it. I'll remove this file too. So I have just these two files. Just these two files. So I want to save them in a location that I know of very well because I need that part in my code. I need the file part. So I want to save them in a location that I know of very well. But let's leave it for now. So let's come to plugins. Come to Python console. So when you click Python console, it opens up a console where you can type in your code for you. But this is not the IDE. This is the console. So we need to go to the IDE. So click on this show editor. There's an icon that has show editor. So the show editor is one that actually opens the part where you can type your code. So very quickly, you can type the code in here, the script that does that automation in here. So, but I will not be typing it in here. I want to type it in. VS Code. Not everybody's familiar with VS Code, but VS Code is one of the most common IDEs out there. And I want to use VS Code because I like the autocomplete features. This does not have autocomplete feature. I want to explain the code as I'm typing it so that you know exactly what we are doing. So that I can also come to QGIS and copy my file parts and paste it. I'll just copy the entire code, bring it here, and then we can run it. So allow me to open my VS Code. So this is my VS Code. I'll create a new file. I'm creating a new file. You can see, come to new file. I'm clicking it. I have to give my file a name. So I'll call it QGIS Automate. Please confirm that you saw when I did all of this. So I just I created a new VS Code file, a new Python file, and I imported the features that I added on the slide. Those classes that are on the slide, they are basically imported from QGIS.core. So one thing that I have not done is import processing. You know, I said we need processing for this to work. So we just import processing. Processing is actually the main tool that does the clipping for us. So just import processing. Yes, we need that too. So here I am trying to define the location of my files, and that's what I am doing currently before I notice that my Telegram has went off. So here I come to the file here. I want to save it. So I export, save feature as. I choose the location. So what I did is that I created a folder called road. I name it Nigeria road.shapefile, and then I saved it. So I don't want it to come again in the map, so I click OK. So it's saying this is already been there, so I want to overwrite it. So that is saved. So let me do that again. Export, save feature as. I choose the location. Now this is the reason why I'm saving it, so that I can copy this file location. This file location is what I want to use in my code. So I copy it. I remove this and I click OK. So I'm overwriting that. So yes, basically that's fine. So I come to my VS Code and I paste that location. So here I also want to define the location of my output file. Where do I want to save this file after they have run finished? So I have very limited time. I want it to save in the same area, in the same project folder, which is QGIS automation. So I just copy this and I paste it here, and I define the output as state. Okay, let's call it output. Road within state. So this is why I like this VS Code to help me complete my code. It will not happen in QGIS if I actually write the code in QGIS. So I made a comment about this backslash. It's not supposed to be backward slash, it's supposed to be forward slash. So I just edit everything. Control Shift L, and let's just hope we finish this class before it before we run into the error again, because the recording itself has stopped, which is going to be a challenge. Well, let's focus on getting through with the class. All right, so we need to load the state. So like I said, it has already suggested something for us earlier, but because of what happened, the suggestion just went away. So let's just call the state layer. So is equal to, remember we need our vector QGIS vector layer. So let's just take this. So this is actually the layer name from here that we defined. So it's going to understand this as state boundary and as an OGR. So if state is not valid, what should it do? This is basically a good catcher. So if the state boundary is not a valid state boundary, what should it do? Let's take it and let's tell it to print. Exactly. I was going to say it should print state not valid. So we just say fail to load state boundary layer. So this is basically good. So this is going to read and understand our shape boundary. So if it is not a valid shape, or if it's not a proper boundary, it is going to tell us that it's unable to load it. So let's I'm so sorry, let's go back to instead of just waiting for the slide, like I said, we are looking at automating some geospatial workflows. So as we all know, QGIS can be a lot redundant in some sense. QGIS can be a little bit redundant in the sense that there are some tasks that are repetitive. For as little as renaming of a file, renaming of a list of things, you have to do it one layer after the other. So this redundancy is so common in QGIS, and it is time consuming. So with this particular automation, we can save a lot of time, and also by saving time, we save a lot of business resources. and then also saving ourselves stress. So, please, when you can't hear me anymore, just let me know. Trying to make sure everybody can still hear me. Okay. Yeah. So, to automate tasks in QGIS, there are some tasks we can automate. I'll list the example of those tasks. For example, tasks that involve processing toolkits, processing toolbox in QGIS. Most of those tasks can be automated because the processing toolkit itself is built on Python. And because it is built on Python, it is easy for us to leverage the Python that it was originally built on, that is the QGIS core, and then write some automation on those libraries that can actually go into our layers. So we need to specify our use to us the common libraries that we use when we are automating tasks in QGIS. So when we are automating tasks in QGIS, we use this common library called PyQGIS, PyQGIS. I wish I'm able to show my slide. I would have shown us what I mean, but this is just telling me that it can't be displayed. Let me try to open from. Let me try to open from here. Okay, this is not going to open as well. I'm trying to save time because we spent a lot of time waiting for a lot of people. So I'll try to do this. Yeah, let's see if we can open. It should be here. Let's see if we can open this. Yeah, so this is what I was trying to say. Please confirm you can see my screen. Anybody can unmute themselves and speak. This is not the best, but please confirm you can see the screen.
I can see your screen now. I can see your slide now.
All right, thank you very much. So this is what we are saying. We are saying that automation improves the speed, reproducibility. It means that once you have automated, if you automate it once, you can always come back and use it at any point in time. If you automate it once, it can run for 1,000 copies, just like, when you are replicating something. So it is also scalable. So I was trying to give an example of tasks that you can automate. An example is batch clipping, layer styling. Can automate calculations like calculating the area of a shape. You can automate getting the centroid of a shape in QGIS. You can automate report generation. We have done this in one of our classes before. So these are the tools that are required. So this is the point where I am. Actually, I've mentioned QGIS a couple of times during this class. Then I'm also mentioning the Python foundation, that's the Python library that is responsible for, that allows us to do all this kind of automation. The PyQGIS is a Python API that runs inside of QGIS. So our demo today is going to be towards, and I need us to actually understand this demo so that we understand what we are doing when we are doing it. It involves batch clipping of so now I'm not going to use a population data. I'm going to be using a road data. So it involves batch clipping of a road data. So we have Nigeria as a whole. We have Nigeria, all the roads in Nigeria. So we want to divide these roads by state. That is to say, out of all the road, which is one shape, a shape layer, a shape file. The road layer that we have is one shape, a shape file. For Nigeria, we want to divide it into the 36 states that we have so that we can know what road are in Lagos State, what road are in Nasarawa State, what road are in Kogi State, what road are in Kano State. So we want to clip those things. And if you are familiar with QGIS, you know that these things requires us to do it one after the other. You go to the big file, you clip for Lagos State, you save it somewhere. The saving itself takes some minutes before it load, you rename it, you make sure the coordinate reference system is correct and all of that. But with automation, you just do it once, and once it works for one, it can work for as many as possible. So the objective here is to clip the road layer for each of the states and save the output automatically. Remember, saving also takes time, but here we are not saving one after the other. It will save everything for us automatically, and it can do this in a seconds time frame, in a seconds. So we are going to look at that together, but let us understand the workflow, because we are going to be writing the scripts together, trying to be as fast as possible so that we don't overlap our time. So we load the boundary, that is the boundary of the states. We need the states, their shape, we need it, because it is by that shape that we are going to clip the road. Then we also load the road too. So when we have these two files, we name them properly so that we can be able to identify them in the code. Then we loop through each of the states. That is, we do for one, and then when it works for one, we now start looping it. That is why you see clip the road to the state. Then we save the results first, then before we start repeating it. So we make sure that we loop for one state, we clip for one state, we save the result for one state, then we start repeating it until we are done for all the states. Now let's look at the classes, that is the methods and the classes that are responsible and that we are going to be needing. Basically, this is the most important one. Once you are able to get PyQGIS, which comes with your QGIS, remember, it is inside QGIS, so you don't need to install anything. Once you have your QGIS properly installed, the PyQGIS comes with it, and I'm going to show us that plugin. So once the PyQGIS comes with it, you can always import QGIS.core anytime in your console. You can import QGIS.core anytime in your console. So we have this class, which is QGIS vector layer. This allows us to understand vector layers in QGIS. We have QGIS products. This allows us to work with projects in QGIS, and this allows us to work with features in QGIS. So we are going to be needing these two, the vector layer and the feature layer, mostly in this our walkthrough. So this is an example of where we get the features. So yeah, we are going to also be needing processing. So we are going to be looping through processing, because I was explaining the other time that the operations that are mostly automated in QGIS are processing operations, and they are gotten from processing toolbox. So we are going to need to import processing to be able to clip the files. So that is why you see import processing.run, and then under that we can get feature, then we can do a native clipping. So our native clipping, there are different types of clipping in QGIS. So our native clipping is the ordinary clipping. Then when we get there, I'm going to show us. We have the raster clipping, we have the vector clipping, we have the native clipping. So basically our data, for some of us that want to like replicate this practical class, you can get your boundary file from globaladmin.org. Then you can get your road file from geofabrics.de. So let's go to QGIS and see what our session looks like. So this is my QGIS here. Somebody confirm that you can see my screen on QGIS. So if you come here, this is the processing toolbox. If I uncheck it, you see that something has disappeared from here. If I click it back, you see something is going to pop up here. This processing toolbox, almost all the stuff that are here are what can be automated based on our level of familiarity and expertise. So let's quickly do something. Before we start automating, let's load our file. Let's make sure that our files are correct. So we try to do it manually for one. Once it works for one, then we can do it for all. So here is what I'll do. I have my files here under this D folder. You can use this for your browse to browse your data, which is kind of very stressful. You can use this to browse your data, which is kind of very stressful. I just like to go to my file explorer and browse my data from there. But let's look at it together from here for people that this is the best way QGIS recommend actually. So let's do it the way they want it. So come on, I have my data, most of my data under geospatial. So I'm trying to look for Nigerian latest shapefile. So under this Nigerian latest shapefile, I can find the road file. So here I'm going to bring in the road file. This is water transport. So if you go to global admin, geofabrics.de, you see all these files there. Just download for Nigeria and then you get all these shapefile. So I'm bringing in my road. You can see this is one file and this is the entire road in Nigeria. If you can see this, so just by bringing in this, I have all the roads in Nigeria. So I'm going to be doing something also. I'm going to be bringing all the shape files for the state, the boundaries for the state. So let's close this. So where will I get the boundaries for the states? I would look at let me look at. Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I saved that boundary for the states. So not here. That's okay. So this one I'll do it. Just later, I'll get it soon. So yeah, we can look at this global admin.json 41. Yeah, let's see this. Okay, yeah, that's invalid. So that will not work. Okay, so I have it somewhere. Just give me a minute to get it. Maybe not 3, 2. Okay, most definitely it's going to be here. So we have Nigeria state boundaries. So let's just bring in this here. Oh, there's something wrong with this guy, which I think I know. Okay. So allow me to use let me use this guy. Yes. So these are all the state boundaries in Nigeria, which you can also download from globaladmin.org, gadmin.org. So if you look at these files, this is all the states, one file. This is all the road, one file. What we want to get is get each road for each state, which is kind of time consuming, but we want to automate this. But before we do that, let's make sure that these files are not corrupted files. They are not files that are lacking values. So we can do that in 2 ways. First of all, let's inspect the files. We can come here and open the attribute table. Once you open the attribute table, it gives you an overview understanding on what is in this table that you are looking at. So basically this is telling us the roads, the classes of road. We have secondary, primary, service road, motorway, and all of that. We also have them labeled in layers. We have some that are bridge, true or false. Are these road tunnels, true or false? So they have IDs too and they have code. Then we have their names for those of the roads that we know their name, like that. So this is the road data, so that when we clip it, we want to make sure that it still maintains these attributes. Now let's inspect the boundary. Just check the attribute table, open attribute table. So we see that this attribute table actually has country name, state name. So we need to take note of this state name column, which is name_1. So because this is what we are going to be using to identify the states by their state name. So name_1. Then what else do we want to look at? This is actually at a state level, and then we have for the entire 36 plus the FCT, which makes it 37. So let's quickly do something. Let's do for a state, which is a native clipping. So we are going to be using the conventional processing toolbox to do the native clipping. So just come here, search for clip. So when you search for clip, you can see this ordinary clip here, this vector overlay clip here. So you can see that there are a lot of clips, clip vector, and then there's clip raster. There's also clipping by point cloud data management, which is like you want to clip like files from Google Earth Engine and all of that. But what we want to do is the native clipping, which is just this shapefile to a shapefile. So if you click on it, it asks us what's our input data. Our input data is the road that we want to clip. So click the road. There's something else we need to do before this that I have skipped. So our overlay data is going to be the states at which we want to clip. But for now, we don't have the states. So we need to first go and get a particular state first. You see how tedious working without automation can be. So let's first of all go and get the state before we come and do the clipping. So let's close this. Okay, I want to extract a state. So I will extract let's see, properties. So come to source, under source, come to query builder, because we need to build a query that extracts the state. So because we know that the state name column is actually name _1, double click it, pick equal to, you can come here and sample or say all. So let's do sample. Let's do for states in, I'm looking for Yobe. So let's just do all so that we get Yobe state. So I'm looking for Yobe state. So I want to get the roads in Yobe state. So once I click OK, I apply this and I click OK. You can see Yobe is the only state that I have here. However, what I have just done is that I have filtered the entire state to get only Yobe. So I want to make a duplicate of this because I need the one that I have not filtered, obviously. So I'll rename this file. I'll call it all state boundary instead of saying copy, so that for easy identification is very important that our files have distinct names. So now that I have a state boundary called Yobe boundary, so let's rename this one to Yobe boundary. To Yobe boundary, yeah. So we have Yobe boundary. So now let's go back to clip for only Yobe states. So I want to do something. Okay, yeah, we can actually do that later. So come here, pick input as the road layer, then pick Yobe state as start. So we don't need to save it. Let's just create it as a temporary file and let's run it. So we see what happens. The run is complete. It says we have a clip data. Let me close this. So because we are seeing the entire road, let's first of all hide the entire road. Let's also hide Yobe boundary. So you can see that we have only the roads in Yobe state here. So imagine we want to do for all the 36 states. This is what we are expected to do. Do for all the states one after the other. Do for all the states one after the other, one after the other. But we are saying that there's a better way, and that is what we are learning today. QGIS automation with Python scripts. So now let's look at what we need to do. First of all, you need two things. Basically, you need to know where are these files at? Where can you find them? So we need to know their location. If you look at the way I brought in the files, I just looked for it in my Explorer. That will not work. I need to know their exact location from my storage drive because I'm writing the code to automate it. So, but before we do that, let's get into writing the code. So we are going to make this fast. I'm going to be using VS Code. So the reason why I'm using VS Code to write my code is because VS Code kind of does a little bit of auto completion for me and it's auto suggest, so it's kind of smart, and I'll just use that. So I want to create a new file, which I'm not even sure how to save. Okay, so let's do it this way. Let me do it this way. So let me open a new VS Code window because of a lot of things I've been working on prior to now. So you can see this. So I'll just create a new file. So let me call it PyQGIS .py. Yeah, because it has to be a Python file. So we have to create this. Then it's asking me where do I want to save it. So I'll just create a folder for this class and I'll save it under that folder. So let's just create a folder for this class. So we can call it QGIS Python. And that's the name of the folder. So in this folder, I'll save my PyQGIS.py file. So this is a new file. So the first thing we want to do is, so let me increase my screen so that everybody can see this. So the first thing I want to do is that I want to import operating system. I want to import OS. Import OS so that we can actually go through our system where my files are. I want my code to be able to reach it. So first of all, my code needs to understand that I'm using this particular operating system and I have this kind of storage disk and it can actually navigate those paths. So that is very important. The second thing is importing QGIS.core from PyQGIS. So we need to import the libraries that we need. So we import QGIS.core. Yeah, so it's going to be from QGIS.core. You can see it's already suggesting for me. What's going on here? So don't mind, I don't know what's going on exactly. Okay, my hard disk is kind of shaking. That's exactly what's going on. All right, so let's just do, I will just take this auto completion. I don't need QGIS application. From what I mentioned earlier during our slide, we need QGIS vector layer. We need QGIS vector projects. Then we can take QGIS feature. QGIS feature. Yes, QGIS feature. So it's giving us geometry, which we will not need eventually. So let's just take that. Then the next thing we need, to do is to load. Okay, we need processing because we have to import processing too. This permits hard disk is shaking too often. I hope this thing will not crash. So let's just import processing just that way. Once we take it into QGIS, it will understand what we are trying to do. Okay. Then we need to load in our files. We need to load in our files. So let me just say load data or load the vector layer. So the first file I want to load is the road data. So I'll say road layer, road underscore layer is equal to yes. So I will not specify this part yet because I don't need. That's the assumption. So I'm trying to move as fast as I can. Then let's also write for the boundary layer. So we say state boundary. Let's call it this way, state boundary layer. So we don't know that, so we keep it. Then we also need to specify the part we need to save our file. So output, let's keep the output to say we don't know it. Let's just say we don't know it. Then there's something that is very good for us to do is that now let's load our state data as a vector file. Remember, this is the library that we need to load our state data as a vector file. So, but before we do that, I don't know which one to do first now. Should we get the parts first so that we fill these parts first? Or should we just load these names? We can actually load with these names and then get the parts later. So I'll suggest that we load them with these names, then we get the parts later. So we can just say that let's load the state layer. That is not the road. So load the states because it's the state that we need first. So this auto suggest is actually giving almost what we need. So here I'll just take state layer instead of taking the state boundary layer. I'll just take the state layer is equal to. So this QGIS vector layer is exactly what we need. So I'll just take it. But then we are already going to put a part like this here, so we don't need to repeat it. So we just need to put in this name, state boundary layer. So that is exactly what we just need to do. So we just call it state boundary layer. Yes, because the part is what we are specifying here. Then we want to call this one state. And then this OGR is the driver that we are using. It's like, when you are loading CSV, you do CSV.read. So that .read is the driver that is reading the CSV. So something similar to this open geospatial reference. Yes, open geospatial reference. It allows you to read the geospatial file. So this is a driver, and we need to specify that. So we are going to do a little bit of check. We are going to be doing a little bit of check. The check is in the sense that you are going to be surprised that my VS Code is just auto-suggesting the next thing for me. This is because in our last class, I've tried to write this code and it's kind of understand already because of what I've written before. And that's why it is just auto-suggesting the next step for me. And that's why I chose VS Code for most of my script writing, because it's kind of already know what I want to do. If the state is not valid, we want to write it out so that when we are running our script, we know that this particular state has error. So I'm just going to take this entire line and I'll say if state. So I'll take the first one, but the second one, instead of printing, there's nowhere to print in my QGIS. So I'll just say raise exception, state boundary field to load. Then the next thing we'll do is, now that we have already load our state as vectors, so I'm trying to use this minutes. So we need to loop through each state. But before we loop through each state, so that we get all the attributes actually. But before we do that, okay, so let's try this. Just stay with me. I'm not going to take all this auto-suggested stuff so that we are not confused. So for state feature actually, or we can say for one state in states layer, that is our entire state layer that is here. We can use the get feature because we want to get the entire attribute and all of that. So we take it to get feature. Then what we want to get is actually, we are using the name of the state. So here we want to get the name of the state, and from the name of the states, we are getting it from column name_1. Don't want to forget that. So we want to get the name for each state in the states layer. So we are getting state name. So this is already suggesting state geometry, but what I want to get is state name is equal to states. That is for one state. Then the name here is name_1. So this should do, but this should be a string because it's actually a column name. Yeah, so we can actually use this to get the names for each column. The next thing we need to do is we can actually print, or we can do something first. Let's ignore the printing. The printing are just variables. So let's leave the printing for now. Let's write an expression that says, this expression is going to do the filtering for us. So we can do expression. So it's already getting something like that. Is equal to, so this expression is going to filter by each name for each operation. So we do 1, 2, I need another 2, then we do name underscore, something like this exactly. So we have 3 here. I need to have about 3 here. So state name, this is correct. So this expression is going to filter the states for each, the names. So whenever I'm doing a clip, now the clip operation is what I'm going to write next. So whenever I'm doing a clip, it's going to do for one state. It's going to filter first before it does the clipping. Filter first before it does the clipping. So we can say single state layer is equal to, we are not doing materialize anything. We are using our QGIS vector layer. State underscore layer is equal to, just stay with me, QGIS vector layer. Yes, that's exactly what we need. Then we can do this. This CRS is actually important. I don't know why my hard disk is shaking. But please permit the hard disk. So let's just do this. So this is, I don't want to pick this CSR yet. But let's bring in the expression now. So I'll explain what this line does in a few seconds. So instead of using query, I want to use subsets. And then another string. So this code is going to be made available to us at the end of the class for us to go through it. Then we need to bring in our driver. Yes, exactly. So what this particular expression does is that it creates a new vector layer for each of these states that we are filtered here. It creates a new vector layer for each of them. So it is looping through. That is why it is under this for statement. It is looping through each and for each state, and it's creating a new layer from the clipping. So this one is just giving us the path. I think I need to set my hard disk again. It's shaking too much. This one is just giving us the path, and then this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is the driver. This one is also the path. This is giving it a name. So let me explain this to you. This one is like, okay, saying Lagos boundary. We are going to see it when we eventually save finish. This expression is the one that is doing the filtering. Then we need to also set the, where are we going to save the files? That's the next thing that that's the next thing that we are writing. And everything has to be under the loop because it is doing for all the all the states. That's why everything has to be under the loop. So I'm doing name.replace. So it's not supposed to be state, it's supposed to be state name. Yeah, state name.replace. I need to replace every space with underscore. Then let me do dot replace every asterisk, every forward slash with underscore. So I want to save this to a path that has been specified, which we have not specified yet. So I'll just say output paths is equal to output layer. Remember, we have earlier specified output layer up here. So I'll just say output layer. So if you want to give it any name, just give it like road SHP. This is actually brilliant. Then we now need to clip our data eventually. And if anybody has been following, we mentioned that we are using processing.raw actually. So instead of native extract by attribute, we are using native.clip. So we are using native.clip. And then what are we clipping? Let's specify our inputs. So I want to take all these suggestions because of, so all the suggestions are correct. They are gotten from everything that we have specified earlier. If remember the native clip asks us for inputs, which is the road, which is what we mentioned, the road layer. Let me do this again. The overlay, which is the state, single state, after we have filtered the single state boundary that I mentioned here. After this expression help us for filtering, we get single state layer. That is the overlay. Then the output is where we want to save it, which is what we are going to specify. So we are going to take this processing dot run native clip. So once we are done with the entire thing, we want to print that the process is completed. And I'll just take this like that. I'll just take that entire thing like that. So here, our script is completed for this. Once we are done, so let's quickly go back to QGIS. So I'll save this because we're going to copy it. Let's go back to QGIS and get the files location. So we are almost done. In the next 5 minutes, we are done with the entire class. So here, let's get the root location first. So I will export it and copy the location where I'm exporting it as. So export feature as. Instead of me to just pick any location, I'll come to geospatial. Just this my hard disk that is shaking. I don't want it to shake at this moment. So QGIS Python. I'm going to save it here. So I'll call this road. Let's call this ngn road for distinct. So this will save as shapefile. So this particular location, everything here is what I need to copy. So I'll just copy this and then I'll make sure I save this first. So I need to make sure this is saved. So then I paste it in my road. So this location now is active for my road. But however, I can't use ngn road, so I need to go and rename it because /n is already a namespace character in UTF-8. But if you look at the color, it's already telling me that this is a code. It's telling me this is a new line and it's not going to work. So let's quickly go back to QGIS and do the naming again. So I'll export feature as. I'll come here, I'll click this road. I'll just do something like Nigeria road. Nigeria road will not also work. So I'll just put underscore and save it. So that will save me a lot of stress. So let's also export the entire states for Nigeria. So first of all, I want to remove the clip that is here. So query builder, I need to clear all of this and make sure that I have all the state again. Then I need to save it and know exactly where I saved it. So I'll just save this. I'll just do the same thing here. Underscore ngn boundary, ngn states boundary. And this is saying that. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, there's something wrong actually. So just allow me. My hard drive is shaking too much. So once that is fixed, it will work. Okay, come up. Yeah, that is fixed. So we need to copy this old thing again. So C. Okay. Yeah. So let's also come to VS Code, paste it here. Then for the outputs, I want to save it somewhere similar. So I'll just call this ngn state road. So for this state road now, it's supposed to be a folder that I can save something at, but I'll leave it like this. Now, what if the folder does not exist? What will happen? So we need to make sure that our OS is able to make the directory. So I'm saying that if this folder is not available, it does not exist, create a new one. So that is what this particular line of code I'm about to put here is going to do. Then there's also one that we skipped, which is the printing expression that is going to let us know what level are we in this code. So before this expression, So once we are looping, we need to be able to print so that we know which state is done and which state is not done. So I'm going to put this processing state also. So let's save it. I'll just copy this entire code, come to QGIS. So in this QGIS now, I come to my plugins. Under plugin, open Python console. Python console. So you can see your code editor, show editor. Yeah, under this editor is where we are going to put the code. So instead of us typing the code, everything here, we are just going to put the entire code. So you can see everything that we've written in VS Code is here. And then I can run it. So you can run it with this play button. We run scripts. So this is saying that file name directory. Okay, yeah. So there's something wrong. Instead of backward slash, it's supposed to be forward slash. So these are some few things that you just need to debug when you are copying and pasting file paths from one system to another. For example, it's supposed to be forward slash and not backward slash. I'll just change all of that so that my system understands where my files are. Just a minute. Yeah. So let's run again. So you can actually save. Well, let's run and make sure it works first before we start saving. So you can see processing ABIA state. That's processing. Let's see what state gets processed next. So yeah, we have another error here now saying that. So during the processing for ABIA state, it says could not create layer for ABIA. Okay. Creation of layer failed. Okay. So what's most likely going to happen is, let me just check my directory for that reason. So I'll just empty everything that is there, basically. And I'll make sure I'm using the correct shapefile. Okay, so just a minute. So I'm under here and I'm under here. So these are the old thing that we have. I want to create a folder here. Let's just call it results. So I'll call it results. Then I want to make sure that every other thing is okay. Okay, so I'll come to this, my output layer. I'll call this results. Then forward slash. Okay. So let's see again. I hope it's result and not results. Yes, so let's see again. Let's run it again. Could not create this layer. Oh, okay. Not create this layer. Blah 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 blah. Creation of layer field. OGR error. Fail to create. So it's saying no such file or directory. And this is why we have this make dot directory. In case the directory is not there, it's supposed to make the directory for us. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll just remove this guy and run it again. Okay. So just give me a minute on this particular error. You're supposed to be able to automatically create the directories, but I want to know exactly where this is going wrong. So I'll do this. Because I have a script from the last class that I ensured is working, I'll just check that script. Exactly the same thing. Okay, one more try is to remove the .ssp here, and then let's see what gives us. Yeah, this is still range. Yeah, so yeah, we have all our states now. So it's just the .shp that's causing the issue. So if you look at this, it has run everything for us in like a second. So let's go to our file directory and confirm that we have all the states. So this is our project. This is the results. These are the roads that we have created. And if you look at all of this, these are states. Yes, these are the states. So you can see, you can load any one of it in QGIS. Let's load for those states. So we can hide all other boundaries. Let's close this. Let's zoom to layer. Okay. There's something wrong here. But basically, what we are trying to show here is how that automation can be done. Under results here, let me try that states. Because I'm supposed to be getting actual road layer and not just empty workspace. Okay, so our clipping, there's something actually wrong with our clipping. There's something wrong with our script. Everything just returns 0. So what I can do for us guys, because of time, is to update us with the actual scripts. I just want to run through the script again and check what could be wrong. The clipping is actually done correctly. os.path.join. This is also done correctly. Now where we are getting empty is what I have refused to understand. So for states name, okay, yeah, I found the issue. So let's do this again. Here we need to put underscore, and let's run it again. I need to delete that folder that I created before we run it again. Just stay with me. Shit again. Okay, just a minute, then this whole thing will be fixed. So we need to delete this folder here. Yeah. Okay, now let's run the script again. So let's check again for a verification. So let's use Aqua Ibom SHP, which we have not used before. Actually, something is still wrong. Something is still wrong. So it means we just need to debug these scripts, actually, and debugging on this call might take a little longer. I'll make sure that the file paths are correct. So let me just check that again to make sure that the files are actually correct. So we are using this road shape. Yes, this is the problem. So this shape, this is the problem. The shape we are clipping itself is empty. So we actually need to clip a shape that is not empty. So guys, let's run this again one last time. Let's run this again one last time. Let's get the actual path for the shape that is not empty. So let's do this for all Nigeria road. This should not be long yet. So we need to get road for Nigeria. .shp. So I want to copy parts, and then I want to paste it here. So let's do this together. Okay. So I'll just take this out. Yeah, let's run it again. But before we run it again, we need to delete the other guy so that it does not cause a conflict. So make sure we've deleted this guy. Yeah, it won't delete. Okay, that's not a problem. So if it's not deleting, it's not a problem. Just come here and give our output another name. This is why automation can be so interesting sometimes. Okay, so remember we need to do all those backward and forward slash for this new part. And let's hope that it does not have like a namespace error. Okay, so let's run it. Yeah, I'm sure this would work because the files are not empty this time around. Taking time. Okay, just give it time. You just need to make sure that the file that you are trying to work with is correct. If it is correct and you are sure that your script is correct, it is going to work. It's going to work. I don't know why this is taking time. But like we said, guys, we can always debug this because of our time. We can debug this and then share the correct script with us. But actually, this script is correct. The mistake is that this guy is actually empty, which is not supposed to be empty in the first place because this is the road we are trying to clip. If the file is empty, all our clips are going to be empty. But you can see how it is able to iterate through all the states and create shape files for them. Hi, Blessing, are you on the call? Hi, Blessing, are you on the call? Okay, Blessing is not here at the moment. So if anyone can hear me, can you please unmute yourself and speak?
I can hear you.
Thank you very much for that. So what I will do, because I need to run into another meeting as of now, so I will make sure I share the script with us So I will share the file, the data that we are using to with us. So we should expect that before close of business on Monday. So you can put the files in your computer, copy the location, and just replace it here on the script. So that's going to be like my assignment for us. So if you run into error, you can reach out in our subsequent classes. But I'm very confident of this script. I just don't know why my system has decided to not respond. And from my experience working with QGIS, it will not respond in 5 minutes. If you keep spinning like this because it does not understand something. So what we do is that I would share the script, the code with us. You can try it with the file. Make sure you copy the file parts correctly. And then you can share the feedback of this class on our next call. So we are going to be ending the class here so as not to prolong our stay and to optimize everybody's time. So if there is a question, I'll gladly take them now. If there is any question, I'll take now. Under like the next 3 minutes, I'll take questions now.
Yes, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olufemi.
Yeah, I just want to ask that can this program also work on ArcGIS apart from QGIS?
Yes, ArcGIS has its own automation framework. So ArcGIS is already built in such a way that it is encompassing. You don't need to write this whole Python by yourself, especially for some processing tools. You just go to, on the menu, there is a part that is called batch processing, and there's another part that is called automate. So it does that for you. ArcGIS does that for you. So, and if you want to use ArcPy, instead of PyQGIS, there's a Python plugin for ArcGIS. They call it ArcPy. So you can actually use ArcPy to write your own custom automation, meaning that there are some that have not been automated into the interface. You can actually write those ones with ArcPy. So you can check out ArcPy on Google, anywhere, and look at what interesting things can be done with ArcPy.
Okay. Thank you
So I
much.
think this is done. Thank you very much, sir. I think this is done. So let's see what we have here, and let's see if it works. I hope it works because see, it works. This is for Abia State. This shape alone is for Abia State. So we can actually bring in another state like that. Let's bring in Lagos State, so that we can see that it's actually did the whole thing for Lagos State. So the reason why we are having empty is because we have been trying to clip an empty file all along. So you can zoom to layer, you can see this is the shape, these are the roads in Lagos State. So you can see that it actually saved them with names that we are able to understand, and it does that in just seconds. I was suspecting the reason why my system was hanging is because my hard drive has been shaking. So these are all the states, and then imagine we have to do this one after the other. It will take the entire day. So we can also inspect this and see open attributes. You can see that it has all the attributes that was in our original data. It has it here. So, like I said, we still share this with you. I'll still share the files with you so that you can try it on your own end and see that, yes, automation can actually be easier. We can go ahead and calculate areas, calculate meters with automation and all of that. So, if there's any question, I'll take now. And if there is no question, look forward to seeing you in any of our other classes. Any question? All right, guys. Blessing is here. Blessing, I hand over to you. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much. See you in any of our other classes.
Thank you so much, Olamide, for this. Just like that.